Welcome to the melting snowflake house of Prozeroff. Hey, glad you tuned in. Hey, I just wanted to say, I was listening to, I don't know, what's the new Buck Sexton and his cohort, Gus, whatever, I don't know. I don't even know the names of those guys, but they're doing the same thing as always. They're always stereotyping liberals. Liberals do this. Liberals do that. Liberals are unhappy people. Liberals are miserable. Liberals hate money. Liberals are mad at this. Liberals are always trying to be two-faced. Liberals are always lying. Liberals are always saying one thing and doing another. Liberals. I mean, some of this stuff is ridiculous. It's just absolutely not true. There's always people, whether you're a conservative or a liberal, there's people that just aren't good people. They just don't follow any rules, and they say one thing and they do another. I mean, that is conservatives and liberals. But if you get into the bubble of talk show conservative radio, you really start to stereotype in your mind what a liberal is. And then as soon as you hear that somebody's liberal, you think, oh, they're a cross-dressing, they want to spend my money, they're a taxing spender, and they want to take all my money, and they want to complain, and they want everything easy, and they want everything hard for me, and they're mad at white people, and blah, blah, blah. That is not liberals. That's just maybe what people are using as a stereotype to achieve whatever political aim they're trying to achieve. A lot of times I think that those who claim to be liberal, who project these stereotypes, are actually doing a lot of damage to the Liberal Party, and they could just be rich people coming up with the craziest stuff like, I want to take away your gasoline-powered vehicle because I'm a liberal. Only a tiny fraction of liberals could be that stupid because they don't have the money, okay, to go out and buy a Tesla. They're happy that they got a nice gasoline vehicle that hopefully doesn't kick out too many fumes because it's been well built at wherever it was built, So, there's just these things that keep coming out that are not true. Many people who are poor can't afford a Tesla, and they're going to vote Democrat. So they really are not down with the California agenda of getting rid of the gasoline-powered vehicle. That's a small minority pushing the legislation because the rich make our laws. Rich liberals or rich conservatives. It doesn't matter whether they're rich liberals or rich conservatives. They make the law. They are the legislature. They are the ones that, I know they say power to the people. That's a mirage. I mean, if you look at what even brought about a change from the Articles of Confederation to the federal government, part of it entailed a little-known rebellion, Shays' Rebellion, of a farmer that was overtaxed by the state or owed too much debt, or it was one of both. Too much debt, too much taxes by the state, and the state couldn't handle its business, and the feds had to get involved, or at least a larger militia, to quell Shays' Rebellion after a poor land-owning farmer who barely could afford any land. It's like you can barely afford that apartment. And so you find out really some of our founding fathers, how little they thought of poor people. They didn't want people without property voting. You don't have property. We don't want you voting. Okay, so they thought nothing of somebody who was a poor white guy. He was nobody. He shouldn't even be allowed to vote. He doesn't own property. If you don't own property, you shouldn't be able to vote. And if you're a woman, you can't vote. That's what they thought. So what is this great fixation with the founding fathers as being like these perfect groups of people because they wanted limited government? That's their thing. So they're afraid the tax and spend liberals, who oftentimes are other rich liberals, advocating tax and spend. I'm not advocating that. I don't want to raise your taxes to pay for my liberal ideas. I'd rather print the money because there's some markets that have no competition in it. They don't even have any buyers in it. Literally, by printing money, you may create an entirely new market. You're not even going to spur inflation because you haven't even established that there's a market. You need money to first establish that market. You need some equilibrium of price and demand to go into effect for a long time before you can even figure out where's the real market now for this? Where's the real demand for this? And if people don't have money, they can't buy anything. They can't buy stuff. They can't, which is really what some of these elite want. They really don't even want a functioning economy. They want a jail in case they got to throw people in jail who get too desperate because the economy might not really even support them. but they're like, okay, maybe they can live off their family. Well, a lot of people, their families are destroyed because of the economy. It's a cycle. The economy destroyed their family. Their economics are destroyed because they don't have very much money. They go to their family. Their family's non-existent. Now they're trying to go to the economy. There's no help there. And it's a bad cycle. No help in the workplace because they're getting these over-economized, efficiency-driven jobs at the lower level that can get boring as hell, like working at a gas station or a fast food restaurant. And that's what happens to people that go to jail. They get stuck with these jobs, or people that are older and they can't handle them. A lot of older people cannot do these jobs, and then they're making less money than they were when they were younger. So how is that a good deal? But we don't want government involved to ever figure out if somebody needs some help, because that's all your job. You got to get all the help you could possibly need, and you got to go out and search for it, like you're in the great position to go search for help. It used to be you had a government office and stuff, and you can go to the government office and try to get things fixed. Now we've downsized that. You got to get on the phone, try to call people, blah, blah, blah. Can you even afford a phone nowadays? I mean, there's all these things we're not even thinking about, because when you have money, you don't think about, well, man, I don't have a car to get there. You don't think about that. It's easy. I got a car. I can get another car if it breaks down. Or, I've got phones and I got a nice place to live, and I can work from home because I got a nice home to work in, and I don't have like 15 people in my house with 3 families trying to live in it. I live in a nice home. I got my own bedroom and all these good things, and that's all good, blah, blah, blah. But for other people, not so lucky. Not so lucky at all. And, that's the thing. When we try to fix things, we don't want this fixed. People go for years in these horrible positions. They're educated. They're not getting paid what they should be getting paid. Then these idiots who have no education, some of them who are on talk show radios, come on with this nice polished freaking speech. It sounds like this, God, they really know what they're talking about, Hey, you're the one guaranteed you a job after you graduated. But you're talking about people that look for 5, 7, 9, 10, 12 years and no good position, no position that allows them to move from one socioeconomic status to the next one. Even though they put in all this effort, even though they applied for all these positions, they're not even interviewed. I know people that went to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of websites, applied to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of jobs, called hundreds of people, no job. They're working at Walmart, and they got a part-time faculty job at some state university that pays them like $3,000 a semester, which is chicken feed. Horrible. And why the provosts and the deans get $80,000, $90,000, the majority of these adjunct profs get like $3,000 a semester. Why we have idiots that come on talk show radio and they say, oh, tenured professors are destroying the country. Well, the problem is if you don't get tenureship, they don't have to pay you money. You have no contract. So we've been downsizing tenured professorships since the 1960s and 70s. And people act like this is what's destroying our country because they find one sociologist who's fomenting rebellion on the campus. He's like 1 in 10,000 professors or 1 in 100,000, and he's used as, see, this is what's wrong with the country. This one guy that only exists at this campus, who's the only guy doing this shit, is the reason we can't have well-paying tenure professorships. But we can pay the deans 6 figures, we can pay the vice presidents 6 figures, but the teachers at these schools, no, you get $3,000 a semester for 5 months. Divide 3,000 by 5, and that's what these guys are getting paid. So when you hear some dumbass run his mouth on right-wing radio about tenured profs ruining the country, these liberals at these universities, all he's talking about is maybe the sociology department or the history department. And that's not even the case. They don't actually do that. These are lies that they spin. Many of these classes I've taken, sociology, they talk about all sorts of viewpoints. And it's not this in the environmentalists who talk about that some of these I've taken a class with an environmentalist, and she would talk about these people are dangerous because they're going to eliminate these petroleum jobs with no replacement job, and I can't necessarily support that. Even though I'm for green, we cannot just push these people out of a job. See, she's not a Martha Vineyard Hampton's liberal, right? Mar-a-Lago, whatever. I don't know where these liberals live. I've never, and who knows if they're liberal. This is just a big game they play. So be careful when you hear somebody talking about libs. They may be lying. This is the melting snowflake who had a complete meltdown. And thank you for listening. And House of Pearls are off. Like my channel. Bye-bye.